Where did we last leave off? Fox via Disney had offered basically 14 pounds a share. That's about 32.5 billion US. Comcast immediately countered with 14.75, about 34 billion. So they're not considered best and final. If you're Bob Iger, you've already won the Fox bid, the Fox deal, right? Most of that.
Yeah.
It actually benefits you to just be radio silent on the Sky thing, because then, you know, for your Comcast, you're like, well, what's going to happen? Do I need to raise my bid before anything else happens? You know, I think just sort of the uncertainty sort of plays into Disney's favor, because ultimately, since Disney, Fox owns 39% of Sky, whatever deal that Comcast ultimately tries to make a deal play out, that they could, Disney could cash out nicely in that.
You don't believe that there was any unspoken sort of understanding that Comcast didn't make Disney overpay for all the other.
Well, no. So that's the other side of it, which is
they didn't do that, and so now it's like, and as we'll not make you overpay if you let us have Sky. That there's nothing that's not going to happen.
No, because there was no sort of. The relationship between Disney and Comcast, between Bob Iger and Brian Roberts, hasn't been the best. So in a normal sort of business environment, you're sort of there might be sort of, hey, let's just calm this down a little bit.
I don't know whether Steve is that, you know, loves Disney.
Hey, look, we're doing the reporting, right? We want to make sure that, you know, people know what's potentially going on. Also, the fact that the Comcast bid, you know, forced Disney to go up by an extra 19 billion to get Fox. They also have to take on about another 14 billion of Fox debt as part of that deal. So just pure balance sheet wise, you're thinking, oh, why would Disney spend that much more for Sky now? Because they're already going to be sold.
Already going to be over.
Right? So Comcast has more dry powder to go after this.
Disney views that Comcast already made them pay more, and they don't like that, so they're going to quid pro quo.
That is a factor that you cannot ignore.
And they're going to make Comcast pay more if they want Sky.
Again, radio silence sort of could make Comcast think like, oh, I need to. They might end up bidding against themselves in this auction because the way the auction is designed.
How does the auction work? That we were trying to figure that out.
It's bizarre. I actually looked pretty deep into it. It's kind of odd. It's max of 3 rounds of bidding. The first round, Fox goes first, or Disney Fox goes first, since they're the lower bid of the 14 versus 14.75. What's interesting is in the first round, Fox doesn't have to improve on its 14-pound bid. They could just bid 14 pounds.
Because of regulatory.
And then
it's blind, so Comcast would not know.
Is that there was a bid that was placed.
Exactly. Yeah. So Comcast could end up bidding against itself and be like, oh, I don't know if they went higher.
But in that scenario, if you then put in a bid that is lower than what Disney had put in, do you lose? It's done after 2, or does everybody have a chance?
Well, so then most likely it'll be done after 2 rounds, because in round 2, Comcast gets a chance to bid. Now, they could, game theory-wise, they could think, you know what, maybe they're just trying to play me a little bit. And so if they stayed at 14, I could stay at 14.75, my last bid, and then win. So they could still win at 14.75. That is a less likely scenario. I think both sides will probably increase it somewhat, because you still have to market it to the shareholders. Ultimately, you have to tender these, you know, get them to tender their shares. If it's not high enough, you might not get enough buyers, right?
What would be too high for this?
Look, Sky was at 10 pounds like at the start of this year. It's gone up 50%. It's trading at 15.8, 15.9 or something like that. It's incredibly high given where its margins are. It's a healthy business, and the presumption is in the UK and across Europe, there's more headroom for growth in the pay TV ecosystem, unlike in the US, where everyone who wants to pay for television already pays for it. So, you know, there's an argument to be made that there's potential more growth, and that's why Comcast wants it. That's why Disney wants it. At the same time, it's like it might be a long time before you sort of recoup that investment.
I mean, it's not a huge number, even if the bids go up from here relative to the size of either of these companies. And, you know, to your point about how, you know, Disney's interested in just kind of being quiet, if Comcast puts in a very rich bid, that essentially marks Disney's 39% stake in Sky up to that level, and you're kind of benefiting that.
And so they could still win that way, right? So I think again, the radio silence benefits them on either side of that outcome. And again, but I think the personal animus is something you can't ignore. I think that will be a factor in how this plays out.
You saw and you watch individual stocks. We watch Comcast, obviously. Sure. It's our parent company, but it got down to under 31, I think, at one point. It's back almost to 38. Now, when it was on its way down there, it was the usual worries about cord cutting, but also overpaying for, I don't know, for maybe some of the Fox assets or something. Now it's all the way back. Look at I mean, the market's been strong, obviously, stock market, but suddenly it's back to 38. What is that telling you anything? Do you think it's telling you anything, Santoli? What do you think that's telling you?
I think the market's relatively comfortable with Comcast being the owner of Sky, if that's the question. I mean, I don't think that there's a sense that there's more deals coming after that, a bigger bite.
What about recent anecdotal evidence that some streaming stuff and over-the-top stuff is going up in price? It's not even that much better. Why cut my cord when it costs so much?
It will have to go up in price because if you look at sort of Netflix is the standard, right? And right now they're still burning through their cash flow like crazy just to kind of make up for all this content cost that's coming in. $8 billion, $10 billion this year, and at some point Netflix will have to raise prices just to make it economically feasible because they can't continue on that path. Hulu has 20 million, 22 million paying subscribers, and it lost $1 billion last year and about $800 million in the first half of this year.